In this video, I talk about competition in wargaming and how it can hurt the hobby. Now, let me just start off right at the get-go and say that I am not against competition. I myself do not play in tournaments, and I'm not putting myself into competition, but I understand that there's a lot of people in the hobby that that's their main draw, and they dig it. And overall, I think that it can help to get the visibility of the hobby out there to other people. When you come to a store and there's a big tournament for a game, Age of Sigmar, Mercs, Malifaux, whatever, it will get people to kind of come by and at least get some knowledge about it to some degree, because it's public and it's out there. So I understand that. If you like tournaments and you like to play against other tournament players, then competition's awesome. And there are tons of big tournaments out there. LVO, the Nova Open, Adepticon is basically a huge conglomeration of tournaments for every different type of tabletop war game. So I'm not against competition in and of itself. But the problem comes when you get new players involved. So if you're a veteran and you're watching this, you either have had this experience or, and lived through it to tell the tale, or else you know somebody who's had this experience. And it goes like this. Person is new to the game. Maybe they've been playing miniatures games for quite some time, but they're switching to a new system or thinking about switching to a new system. Or maybe this is their first war game ever, okay? So maybe they went out and bought the models and built them and painted them, and now they want to find somebody experienced to play with. Or maybe they went out and bought the models and built them and didn't quite paint them yet, and they want to find somebody experienced to play with. Or maybe they just want to find someone experienced to play with who, it's a small skirmish game and the person's already got 2 forces and they are willing to teach. Now, the problem comes around when that person who is the veteran, who's teaching the new person, plays in a very, very competitive, no-holds-barred, no-quarter kind of way. It's kind of like taking a person and throwing them into the lake and as a way to teach them how to swim. I think that there's a lot of people who are afraid of water because of that very thing. Maybe they weren't thrown in the water. Maybe they fell in the water. I fell off a dock as a small child, and it made me nervous around water for quite some time. So if this is your first real, absolute kind of, this is me playing the game as opposed to just seeing it at a store, and you get just your neck stepped on by a person who's teaching you how to play, that's going to leave a bad taste in your mouth. That taste is going to be your own blood. I mean, not really, it's figurative. But the fact is that you may immediately think pretty poorly of wargaming, wargamers, and just the entire hobby in general. Now, some people are glad to try to teach other people, how to play the game, but they don't seem to be able to help themselves. Like they either have I'm not playing a wargaming game right now, or I'm trying to destroy my opponent's will to live. It's like there's no in between. There's no gray area. And those people, in my mind, frankly, should probably, if asked about it, say, I know somebody else who would be really good to teach you. I'm not a great teacher. I'm really only a good bone crusher. And I don't think in a teaching way. I only think in a how to destroy your opponent way. Those people should probably stay away from demos and from teaching. They should probably pass that buck along to somebody else. Somebody like who enjoys the game but is understanding that when you are playing against a new person and you are teaching them the rules, you should be happy to say, maybe that's not the best thing to do in this turn. Have you thought about doing this? Have you thought about doing that? Have you thought about maybe, not running that group right up the middle into a completely open area where they're just going to get shot to pieces? Maybe you should hover a little bit. Because the trick is that the person, at the very least, doesn't understand these specific rules. If this person is a wargamer but is new to a specific game. If a person has never really played war games at all, if you want to help the hobby, you kind of need to teach them to some degree with kid gloves, because it's a very different kind of strategy than, say, like video game strategy or board game strategy. There's a lot going on there that your average starter is not going to necessarily understand. And if you teach them by, destroying them and making them cry, that's not necessarily going to help them to really enjoy the hobby. Not everybody is super into competition. A lot of people just want to paint. Those people aren't probably going to learn to play anyway, so you don't have to concern yourself too much with them. But there are people who love the hobby aspect and love the game playing aspect as much. And just because they like to play the game doesn't mean that they're super competitive. I enjoy playing games, but I see games as a time that I should be having fun. And I find too much competition to be stressful. That's just me. Nothing wrong with it. It's just the way it works. And there are other people out there who do the same thing. So when you're teaching somebody, if somebody you don't know very well comes into the store and is like, hey, this is really cool, I've got a starter army for Age of Sigmar, and I see you're playing or would like to play some Age of Sigmar. Would you like to teach me because this is my first game? Think about that a little bit. Go, okay, well, let's just do something very simple so you can grasp the concepts, and let me give you a lot of guidance as we go along. Or if you're a person who's just like not interested in that because you're only practicing for your next tournament, let them know. Just be like, okay, cool. I know a guy, and then we'll give you and get it hooked up. But just don't just go, yeah, that's cool. I'll crush you. That's fine. That's not a good way to get people into the hobby. It's just not. So I'm not against competition. Again, let me reiterate. It's great for the people that are into it, but there are a lot of people out there who that shouldn't be their first introduction into the world of wargaming, having somebody who's a tournament player just, squish them. So if you've got any ideas about how to maybe communicate that a little bit more effectively at your local store so that the people who really, really, really only want to win maybe understand that they shouldn't be the ones teaching and demoing, and maybe the people who enjoy the game and just like playing and meeting people and that kind of stuff, the fluffy bunny stuff, which I'm fine with. I'm fine being called a fluffy bunny. But the fact is that those are the people that should be trying to get new players into the game. And maybe just that new player, after a couple of years, will become the, real pipe-hitting, bone breaker of a tournament player. And then, that'll be great for the other tournament players. And but if we shy them away right away at the front, we're not going to have that many.